चतुर्मुखसमारम्भं वाग्भटाचार्यमध्यमम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। रागादिरोगान् सततानुषक्तान् अशेषकायप्रसृतान् अशेषान् औत्सुक्यमोहारदिदान् जघान यो पूर्ववैद्याय नमोऽस्तु तस्मै. So, namaskaram to all. In our previous session, we were discussing something about the Vyadhi Vishesham and Hedu Vishesham, especially Hedu Vishesham. Vyadhi Vishishtada is actually a result or outcome of Hedu Vishesham as well. That is what we were discussing in our last session. Tasmad vikara prakritir adhishthānāndarāni ca buddhva hedu visheshamscha shikram kuryād upakramam. That is what Vakbhadacharya proposes. So it is always a good question that good question to ask. Is there an Ayurvedic methodology in clinical medicine? So that is always a good question. So actually through these sessions, that is what we are going to examine, even though it is some sort of a Swadhyaya program on Nidanasthanam. Nidanasthanam is quite important. So that is why we examined the Hedu in our last session. We found that Hedu and Hedu Vishesham are quite important concepts. So, to understand more about this importance of Hetu, I think the explanation what we find in Ashtanga Hridayam, that may not be sufficient. Of course, it is quite a working model, but I think when you plan to go to the deeper aspects of clinical medicine or clinical methodology in Ayurveda, I think we should go for some of the higher texts. And I should say that the best option here could be Ashtanga Sangraham, no doubt. In Ashtanga Sangraham, we find the beautiful explanation by Acharya Vakbhada in by making some sort of a compilation from all the relevant works, and he is framing a Ayurvedic clinical methodology in that chapter called Bheshajavacharya, the 23rd chapter in the Sutrasthanam of Ashtanga Sangraha. I used to highlight this chapter as the chapter which explains the clinical methodology. So those who are into the clinical domains, either as a student or as a practitioner, should have a thorough learning of these areas. So how to look at the importance of Nidanam from that perspective? We find, see, the very chapter Bheshajavacharniyam. It will be nice to have all these textbooks near you, because I think seeing the text is also a part of learning. So in the Bheshajavacharniyam, we find, just listen, that is enough. Bheshajam avacharayan prageva tavadevam aduram pariksheta. We have seen this, that roga pariksha and rogi pariksha, rogamadau pariksheta, and that roga pariksha is precisely divided into two. That is what we find, where one half is purely roga pariksha, the other half is about the adura pariksha. Rogam nidana pragrupa lakshanopashayaptibhihi, whereas darshana sparshana prasnaihi, you have to examine the adura. So here we find the some concepts regarding the adura pariksha, so as to get a better picture or a clearer picture about the roga. So that is why we find Vagbhada explaining that Bheshajam avacharayan. So the Vaidya who is intending to prescribe or to start a treatment, so let it take it as prescribe. So the Vaidya who is intending to make a prescription, beforehand, what should he do? Prageva, in advance, to start with Tavadevam Aduram Pariksheta. This is very important. And that Adura Pariksha, so there is a systematic program. It is, nothing is happening in a random manner. That is very important. Ayurveda Chikitsa is not just some sort of a random happening. It is an outcome, or it is overall, it is a well-designed program. If it is not so, I think we should look back and see, introspect what is going wrong. So this is about that program. So prageva tavad evam aturam pariksheta. This way you should aturam pariksheta. The pariksha should be done, examination should be done on aturam, the patient. What is that? So you might have seen all these things in the modern day textbooks of clinical medicine, but you should have never expected these sort of things to happen in an Ayurvedic textbook, but it is not so. See, kasmin nayam deshe jataha. This aduraha, this patient, kasmin deshe jataha, all these things are going to be suggestive of the potential hetu and hetu vishesha. That is the importance. So, kasmin ayam deshe jataha, jataha, born. Kasmin deshe jataha, in which place, desha, this person is born. Samruddhaha, where is he brought up? Samruddhaha, vyadhitaha va, and in which place he fell sick. Vyadhitaha, kasmin deshe jataha, kasmin deshe samruddhaha, kasmin deshe vyadhitaha. These are very important points. So an attempt to find out the Nidana or the Hetu in general and Hetu Vishesha in particular is made. And that starts from the very beginning itself. Again, it is not an accident that is happening. It is not a random happening, but it is an outcome of a well-programmed or well-designed methodology. Kasmin ayam deshe jataha, kasmin ayam deshe samruddhaha, Kasmin ayam deshe vyadhitaha. Why? What is the importance of this question? The Vaidya should be looking into broader aspects of this desha. What is that? Kasminscha deshe manushyanam idam aharajadam idam viharajadam edavad balam evam vidham sattvam evam vidham satmyam iyam bhaktihi ime vyadhayaha hidamidam ahidamidam iti. So an understanding about the place, desham, in which the person is born, brought up and fell sick, that makes a big deal of difference in the prescribing. What are the points that the Acharya suggests to look into? Kasminscha deshe manushyanam idam ahara jatam. So, in which all places the people living in those places, they have the type of a particular type of food habits, ahara jatam. Then kasminscha deshe manushyanam idam ahara jatam idam vihara jatam. Their lifestyle, their activities, their sleep pattern, their type of physical exertion, idam viharajatam. Then edavad balam, they have in general, say maybe in a population wise, the general health status of this particular desha is like this. Edavad balam evam vidham sattvam evam vidham sattvam. This is the sattva bala of that place. The people living in this particular desha is having in general this sort of a sattva bala. Edavad balam evam vidham sattvam. We know that, okay, in certain areas, people could be quite, feared of many things which the other people may not be considered as a matter of concern at all. This is related to their experiences. Experiences need not be the immediate experience of that particular person alone, but the historical aspects of experiences that they might have gone through generations, across generations. It need not be a matter of the experience of a person. So it will be having great influence on the sattva of that particular population. So that should be looked into, or the Vaidya should have a reasonably good understanding about the sattvam. This is very evident when you admit a patient in your center and start doing some sort of a, or planning to do some treatments. I think this is very important. This is happening. This is not a very rare thing. This is happening every day with the clinical practice. Those who are into the clinical practice may be able to recollect this incidents very easily. Then, evam vidham satmyam. So their satmya is like this in this particular desha. What they are used to in various aspects. So it is satmyam is in subtle sense, it is a part of the lifestyle. But in a person, that may not be just a lifestyle of the general population. He might have, or she might have developed some sort of a satmyam. So it is august satmyam and something which is personalized satmyam. So that some things can be there as particular. Then iyam bhaktihi, iyam bhaktihi. So that routine, what are the routine things? Ime vyadhayaha, in certain areas, the vyadhis may be specific to that particular area. That is happening again. When the first, we all saw that when the pandemic outbreak was there as a localized incident, okay, immediately all the other areas became alert. Then the borders were closed, travels were restricted, so many things happened. Now, recently here in Kerala, we had a few incidents of some viral infection. Then immediately many people came, and then it was diagnosed as okay, it is a particular type of infective fever called Nipah. Fine. Then immediately, I think that was alerted all around. We had a number of enquiries. Is it safe to travel now to Kerala? Will we get affected by the Nipah virus? So that is whether it is specific to this particular locality. Is it to be considered? Even now, I think this happens when somebody is traveling long distance and reach for an admission. Immediately, we will be asking about the way, the route where they have traveled. What are the types of diseases or the way in which they traveled? So, what could all be the potential vyadhis that this person may be carrying with him? So, ime vyadhayaha hidamidam ahidamidam idi. What are the hitam? Hitam for a particular population need not be hitam for many others. Similarly, ahitam for a particular population living in a particular desham need not be ahidam for a different set of persons living in a different desham. So there is a program. First of all, prageva tavad aturam evam pariksheda, and there is a big question. What is the importance of these questions? Then, going further forward, we find in Ashtanga Sangraham again some very beautiful inputs in this regard. The text goes like this, you can listen. Pragrahanena केन वा निदान विशेषेण अस्य कुपितः दोषः. That is the importance. प्राग्रहणेन केन निदान विशेषेण अस्य दोषः कुपितः. So we learn certain things. What all factors can cause Vadakopa? What all causes can result in Pittakopa? So all these things are documented in a generalized manner. And also in that list, we find, say for example, Desham, Jangalam Vada Bhuishtham, Anupam to Kabholbanam. It is documented, it is well observed and documented. So those who live in a Jangala Desham or coming from a Jangala Desham, they have got some sort of a preponderance towards Vadakopam. Okay, fine. So if proper care is not taken, there is a possibility of Vadakopam more than other persons living in a Jangala Desham. That is taken for granted. So in Desha Pariksha, we find that ime vyadhayaha, these are the commonly occurring diseases in that desham. So all those things will be giving the Vaidya a clear idea about the importance of desham and the role the desha is playing as a nidana or nidana vishesha. So here we find pragrahanena kena va nidana visheshena asya kupitaha dosha. So we should make a deep inquiry. The Vaidya should spend or invest time to look into the act of finding the Nidana Vishesha from this list, what we have gone through, what were the things that we went through. Desham, and in a particular desham, this is the aharam, this is the viharam. So aharam comes, viharam comes, then balam, edavad sattva balam, sharira balam and sattva balam, satmyam, bhaktihi, then ime vyadhayaha. So at least we found certain things like aharajadam, viharajadam, balam, that means deha balam, sattva balam, satmyam, bhakti. So from this list of items, kena nidana visheshena asya kupitaha dosha. In the particular case that we are attending, which factor played the crucial role? That is to be looked into. That is very important. Kena nidana visheshena asya kupitaha doshaha. That should be looked into. Why? What is the relevance of making such an inquiry? Acharya continues in a very beautiful way. What is that? Doshasya hi ekasya api bahavaha prakope hetavaha. Ekasya api doshasya prakope bahavaha hetavaha. Bahavaha hetavaha. There are many reasons, or there can be bahavaha hetavaha, many hedus, where prakope, in the prakopa of ekasya hi api doshasya, in the, for the same dosha, or in the prakopa of the same dosha, there can be bahavaha hetavaha. Bahavaha, there can be many hedus which can end up in the prakopa of a single dosha. For the kopa of a single dosha itself, there can be many hedus. So do not jump into conclusions about the dosha kopa. You could have identified that, okay, there is dosha kopa and this is the dosha which has gone to the kopa. But to come to a proper prescription, you should look into the nidana vishesha, and then we find that pragrahanena kenava nidana visheshena asya prakupitaha doshaha, because doshasya hi ekasya api hi doshasya prakope bahavaha hetavaha tasmad. So what care should be taken by the clinician? Yathasvam lakshanaihi karmabhihi cha buddhva bhishad dosham evam avagamayed. Tasmad, so yadhasvam lakshanaihi karmabhihi cha buddhva, yadhasvam, according to the particular thing which we are looking for. Here the thing what we are looking for is dosha. So according to the priority from the lakshana and karma. Lakshana and karma are the manifestations of the vikriti in the given situation. The vikriti in a particular person, vikara in a particular situation is manifested in the form of lakshana and karma. So sometimes some new lakshanas are coming. Sometimes some sort of a vikriti in the regular karma happens. So lakshanaihi karmabhihi cha buddhva. By buddhva, the word used is buddhva. You have to look, search and find using your intelligence. That is the word buddha, importance of buddha. It may not be served ready-made. You have to put your thought process into it. You have to put your intelligence into it to look into the lakshana and karma of each and every dosha. That is the clinical training that we are supposed to get. We find all these things explained. See, in one chapter we find the beautiful documentation of this lakshanas and karmas that can happen. Sometimes we find vruddhastu kurute nilaha karshya karshni ushnakamitva kambanaha sagrugrahan. Like that we find that at one point we find Sram savya savyadhaswapa sadaruktoda sanganga bhanga sankoja vartaharshana tarshanam. Like that, karmani vayoho. So those lakshanas and karmas, yathaswam lakshanaihi karmabhihi cha buddhva. So you should have a thorough knowledge of the text, at least for this purpose. For this purpose, I mentioned in one of the first session, I think, that shastrartha karma anushīlanena samskurvida prajñām. This is all about the prajñā samskaranam. That prajñā samskaranam is the way in which one person is looking into a problem. That is a samskaranam, is a gunandaradhanam. Samskaro hi gunandaradhanam. We have learned in the Bheshaja Kalpana. Here also the prajñā samskaranam is also the same thing. You are acquiring some sort of a conditioning, some cultural processing, so that you start seeing a particular problem in a particular manner. So whenever you find a clinical case, you should be using your intelligence based on the prajñā samskaranam you have attained or achieved. So here, yathaswam lakshanaihi karmabhi cha buddhva bhishad dosham evam avagamaye. It should not be a random, loose, highly generalized assessment, but it should be a specific assessment. And that assessment goes like this. What is that? Tad yadha kim aharena kupitaha vayuhu. Is this vayu became kupita by the influence of ahara? Aharena kupitaha kim. Is this vayu got into the stage of prakoba by any ahara? Kim aharena kupitaha vayuhu, kim viharena, or by vihara. Aharena kim viharena va. Then tadha, in the same way, coming to a more precise approach, rukshena laghuna sisirena va. Is it because of the ruksha property, or leghutva property, or shida property of the nidana? So things are getting more and more clearly exposed. Rukshena laghuna sisirena va. Then apart from this list of gunas, something else may be contributing. What is that? Sahasena vegarodhena va. So try to explore precisely. Sahasena vegarodhena va. Sahasam is a cause for vatakopam. Vegarodham is a cause for vatakopam. So whether it is because of the sahasam and vegarodham, so karma specific inquiry. Then bhayena shokena va iti. Bhayena shokena va iti. Bhaya and shoga are causes of vadakopam, which is going to the mental influences, manasika bhavas. So a broad understanding of, okay, this is Vada Kopam. Now we will start Vayu. Before jumping into the Vada Chikitsa, Kim Aharena Kupito Vayuhu, Kim Viharena, Tadha Rukshena Lekhuna Shishirena Va, Sahasena Vegarodhena Va, Bhayena Shokena Va iti. It should be, all efforts should be made to come to correct conclusion regarding the Nidana. It is not Nidana alone, it is what we call as Nidana Vishesha. So, Pragrahanena Kenava Nidana Visheshena Asya Kupitaha Doshaha. So, it is not an easy thing. It is all about Prajna Samskaranam. It is all about Prajna Samskarana. This is the way in which an Ayurvedic Vaidya should condition his Prajna. This is the root, the foundation of clinical medicine in Ayurveda. Then we came to some understanding about the Nidana Vishesha. Then Tadascha Tal Pratipaksham Aushadham Prayujyamanam Ashu Siddhaye Sambhadyate. Things are very clear. Tadascha Tadanandaram. After that, Tal Pratipaksham Aushadham Prayujyamanam. So it is not about Pratipaksham Aushadham. So it is Vayu Vada Pratipaksham Aushadham. No. For Rukshena Kupitaha Vayuhu Tal Pratipaksham. Shitena Kupitaha Vayu Tal Pratipaksham. Bhayena Kupitaha Vayuhu Tal Pratipaksham. Sahasena Kupitaha Vayuhu Tal Pratipaksham. So, Nidana Vishesha Pratipaksham. Not just Dosha Pratipaksham. Nidana Vishesha Pratipaksham Aushadham Prayujyamanam. So, thereafter, the Pratipaksham Aushadham in terms of Nidana Vishesham Ashu Siddhaye Sambhadyade will direct towards Ashu Siddhi, Siddhi Chikitsa Bhalam, outcome. And it is a positive outcome. So, Ashu, it is not a matter which is going to happen next year or the year thereafter. Ashu Siddhaye Sambhadyade. This is going to direct the entire effort to the positive outcome quickly. Ashu. So that is the importance of understanding Nidanam in terms of its entire paraphernalia, making it Nidana Vishesham. So let it be Jwara, let it be Raktapitta, let it be some other complex disorder. The exercise of a Vaidya should start from deeper explorations into the Nidana Vishesha. It should not be a random prescription. It should be a responsible prescription after making proper exploration, deeper exploration into the Vyadhi Khadakas. So we will look into more details of the importance of Nidana in our coming sessions, because this is going to be the foundation of Ayurvedic clinical methodology. So here we stop today because it is already half an hour. These are all just 30 minutes modules, 30 minutes capsules. I know that in the morning nobody can spend 1 hour time. So this is a small capsule. Here we stop. We will meet again on the Saturday morning. So here we stop. Vishajam sadhurtanam bhadram agamasalinam abhyastakarmanam bhadram bhadram bhadrabhilashinam.